What is up, everybody? You're very welcome along. I've got a special guest with me today. I'm joined by the one and only Jan Aage Fjortoft. Jan, how are you?
I'm fine. Yourself?
I'm doing good as we all can be at this moment in time. Look, we should probably start off by congratulating Bayern Munich on their Champions League victory, a thoroughly deserved Champions League victory. And before the stream, you were showing me behind you, you have your group of German shirts, and you had a Bayern Munich one there.
There we go. It's my German background when I do for the German channels and ESPN.
So what did you make of the final? It wasn't really the goal fest that we'd all hoped for.
No, it wasn't. But I think that sometimes, like last season, you're happy that the best team will win the Champions League. It's always a good feeling. And if you see over the season, Bayern been unbelievable. I mean, just thinking back to November, when they lost 5-1 to my Eintracht Frankfurt, Niko Kovac was fired. Hansi Flick was the assistant coach coming in, getting new players, new players in the new old positions like Thomas Müller, for example. And now they come forward as a very fit team. They can score in any kind of way, and how Lewandowski is on fire, and so on and so on. And they also managed to make it into a young, hungry team that is hunting the ball all over the pitch. It's just like impressive to see. No, I agree with you. The final wasn't that we could expect more. Having said that, PSG did okay. They had a couple of good chances that they could have taken, but it always helped to have a good goalkeeper at the back as well.
Yeah, he was fantastic, Neuer. He made some really important saves. I love the way when he comes out to close down, he almost does the splits. He has this really weird way of making his legs huge. So he made 2 saves with his ankle almost.
And what Manuel Neuer has done for the role of a goalkeeper, he has developed that role. I mean that is the biggest legacy you can have as a goalkeeper. And when you think back, the last one who did that, I must say, was Peter Schmeichel. The way he kind of developed his way of playing. You also had Oliver Kahn at Bayern kind of developed his part of it. But it's amazing with Manuel Neuer. He's fantastic with his feet, playing football, very good football understanding. And after the injury a couple of seasons ago, he's back to his best. He's found a rhythm, and he's a very, very important player for Bayern Munich, not only as a great goalkeeper, also by the guy who kind of get the values of Bayern Munich in there.
While we're talking about Bayern Munich, I'm going to segue rather nicely into a particular number 6 that played for Bayern Munich, and somebody who, of course, all of us Liverpool fans were keeping an eye on, and that is Thiago. What's the latest that you're hearing on Thiago? I know you had a little bit of a conversation with Christian Falk the other day, and what's your feeling on this one?
Well, first of all, I mean, the player wanted to take the short version. The player wanted a 4-year contract. Then he was out injured, and while he was injured, Goretzka and Kimmich played fantastic on his position. Then he came back, and then Bayern said, well, we give you a 4-year contract. And then Thiago said, well, I have to speak to my wife, which is always a sign that you want to leave. I think there was a mixture of wanting a new adventure, that Goretzka, Kimmich playing good at his position, that maybe he will not play every game. But as you saw in the final, what a fantastic player. For me, man of the match at the final. And why I asked Christian Falk is because he just put out a book called The Insider. He's an insider of Bayern Munich. And I asked him, you have to follow this one. Will they change their mind? And then he reported, no, he won't change his mind. And today, the CEO of Rummenigge said that there was a farewell party, a celebration party after the Champions League, and a farewell party going to the holiday. And he said Thiago brought all his family, and it looks like that was a I'm going to leave party for him. He also said, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, but sometimes we don't have to notice that a lot, because a lot of the deals are done by go-betweens, people that handle for him. So we haven't heard from Liverpool yet, but I mean, everybody tells us that Liverpool are in for this player, and I think the timing now is much better than it was for Timo Werner. And also that this is half the price, where Timo Werner was on nearly 60 million euro. This player will be maybe around 30, still awful lot of money. But I think that Jurgen Klopp, he knows this player, of course, very, very good. And he will be fantastic for Liverpool. I think that this could be not the most spectacular, because there are so many spectacular signings this summer, but this could be a fantastic player for Liverpool. He's like he is a Liverpool player already. The way where I remember when I played Liverpool, they had in midfield they had players who never let the ball get away. And Thiago is that kind of player. Always wants the ball, as you all guys saw in the final.
If you look back through even Jurgen Klopp's time in Germany, he's always been very complimentary of Thiago as a footballer. And it is thanks to Jurgen Klopp, I suppose, that players like Thiago now want to come and play for Liverpool Football Club, because he could have probably had his pick of clubs around Europe. And there was some talk maybe that he wanted, or maybe there'd be a bit of a hookup with Pep Guardiola, whom, of course, he worked under. But from what I've read, I remember a reporter from Sky Germany said that relationship was brilliant at the beginning of Bayern Munich between Pep and Thiago. But at the end of it, not that it was a bad relationship, but that they felt like it had almost come to an end, that working relationship. So do you see any other clubs coming in late to try and spoil the party, or do you think it's Liverpool's transfer to lose?
Well, it's a good point with Pep Guardiola, because when Pep took over Bayern Munich, he said he made a famous quote. He said in German, then it was an old paper saying that Thiago or nichts, Thiago or no one. I'm not sure that the relationship may be at the end, but I think that wouldn't have been any problem. I'm surprised that Manchester City haven't been more on his case to take him, but everybody at PSG, the Italians, can't see Barcelona taking back, because they have to refresh a bit now, and we can talk more about that later. But I think that's one of the reasons why it's very charming for all based German players and also Spaniards, as this it's a chance just once in your career to play in England, and still England got that pulling power to every player. The atmosphere in English football is fantastic, and we talked about it before with Jurgen Klopp having that pulling power. Anfield, the Cup, got that pulling power. And Liverpool is not a bad team either. So I think that this could be a very good match. But we'll see. I mean, I think that Jurgen Klopp, he has always had a record, except for Alisson and Van Dijk. He has taken on player that he made so much better. I mean, you can say that he's made Van Dijk and Alisson better as well. But I think that Thiago is his kind of signing. Having said that, I'm sure that he would love to have both Werner, he would love to have Sancho, and maybe he would love to have Havertz as well. Who wouldn't?
The one thing, and I want to attribute this to you, but correct me if I'm wrong. I remember somebody on social media, it was either yourself, maybe it was Christian Falk, but somebody said that Klopp wanted Werner and was told no by the board. That worried me.
Yeah, but that was very clear. But it's also fair. I mean, I can be the devil's advocate on this one, because this was in the middle of COVID, and Timo Werner, I made an interview with him after the Tottenham game, and I've never heard a love song how much he praised Liverpool, how much he praised Jurgen Klopp, and I was so aware. I saw the head of communication at the Leipzig. Will she not stop me now, because he's talking about another club in those hymn. So he would love to go to Liverpool, but we were told, no one else was there, of course, but we were told that the Liverpool said we can't spend 60 million euro at this moment, which in the Corona, that this was in the middle of the darkest of Corona. Now, at least there are bits hope. Still, people are dying, so we're going to have respect for that, and we'll take this in a process, of course. But at that time, there was we hardly knew if the season would end. We hardly knew that could we go all the way with the league. Would Liverpool get the league title, which would be unbelievably unfair if that didn't happen. And Timo Werner was a bit impatient, because he wanted to leave. He had said no to Bayern Munich. After they said no to him, then Hansi Flick said, well, I want him. I can fit him in here. But then he said no, and then he ended up at Chelsea Football Club. So I'm not saying I understand that every Liverpool fan, every fan around the world, they would love to have the best players. But I think sometimes we have to respect owners or management, and Liverpool got a great management to make the right decisions. And sometimes as well, Jurgen Klopp is a victim of his success, because he's shown that he can take more or less any player and make it into great world stars with Robertson or Trent Arnold or whoever. He make them all better. So sometimes I think it's hard for Jurgen Klopp to go to the owners and say, listen, I want this. He's a finished product. Yeah, but just take someone who's half the price and make him into a world star. You've done that before.
That's certainly something that's been brought up in our chat when we've done streams as well by a lot of our viewers, exactly as you've said. And one thing that Jurgen Klopp also doesn't do is just bring in a player for the sake of it. He wants to have a small enough squad. He wants everybody to have a use in that squad. And this is where I'm kind of leading on to the Gini Wijnaldum situation at Liverpool. Do you think it could be a case of Ronald Koeman perhaps looking to bring in Gini to Barca that would free up a midfield space that Klopp could then go to the board and say, right, now is the time to act on Thiago? Similar age bracket, both 29 years of age.
Yes, but having said that, I think that Wijnaldum sometimes is very underestimated. Somehow he, between two chairs, I like him. He's a very good player. He's a very valuable assets to Liverpool and a very important team player for Liverpool Football Club. But we don't know what will happen there with the deal and if he wants to leave. I mean, there's so many different factors that can influence that. So let's see what's happening. And if Wijnaldum goes, as you saying, then there is a space available. But there's going to be a lot of games and there's going to be a lot of injuries and there's going to be a lot of things that can happen. And now you're happy with not having the Africa Cup. That was one worry less for Liverpool Football Club. But still, there are so many games coming up. And the last couple of 3 years, when you had your best starting 11 out and Klopp could always kind of pick from the best, and he will have a broader squad. So I guess a manager will always try to have the best players around. But as you're saying as well, Klopp loves to have that core of his team available, and Thiago would make Liverpool better. And then we'll see what happens with Wijnaldum. It's a fair point that Ronald Koeman has to do something new. But I still think, as the news came in today, that Lionel Messi maybe will leave. Let's see if that's happened, because that will be the biggest transfer in ever. And let's see what's happening there. But that could be a place where Wijnaldum can go, and he's sure good enough to go there.
Well, we do know that Barcelona, of course, have the presidential elections coming up next March, so that will. My personal belief is that we'll see Ronald Koeman there for 1 year and Xavi come back as manager or come in as manager next year when those elections are over. But looking at the situation with Lionel Messi, now this is only breaking. So anyone that's watching this and, picks up on it and we get one or two things a little bit away, this literally broke, Jan, before this call began. The story that Messi has apparently sent documents to Barcelona asking them to let him move. And there seems to be some type of conversation going around the fact that there was this clause in Lionel Messi's contract that would have allowed him to leave possibly for free, but that expired on the 10th of June. What's the latest that you're hearing? It's not very much Liverpool related, but he is, in my opinion, the greatest player of my generation, so I'm happy to talk about him.
Well, I think we can always higher say he's maybe the best player in the world ever. This is a big story, because it's a sad story as well if they're going to end up in a fight, because what Messi has done for Barcelona, what Barcelona have done for Messi, that is amazing. But as you said, there is apparently a clause that he could kind of go for free. That sounds funny, but still that is his opinion. And of course, the deadline 10th of June is now 2.5 months ago. But his people, his team means that with COVID-19, that has changed a bit around. But I can't see this ending up in a court. There is a clause also of 700 million euros. So I guess he's 33, 34 now. So it's going to be, for any standard, this is unbelievable. But as you also said, there is a presidential election. This is power play on a high level. Remember when Neymar went from Barcelona to PSG? It just ends up being between clubs. This is between states. This is eternal affairs between Qatar, France, and Paris. It's Brazil. It's just like unbelievable. This is on a level that none of us kind of understand what's going on. But so if we should speculate, where could Messi go? It's very, very hard. You feel that he can suddenly play in Inter, or someone dreaming of him and Cristiano Ronaldo together at Juventus. But I think we should follow this case. and know that there have been kind of happening things before in Barcelona, and maybe we'll just end up with another bumper contract.
Yeah, he did always say that he'd like to return to Newell's Old Boys at some point towards the end of his career to complete that circle, shall we say. And I think it's a little bit too early, as you pointed out. He's 33, heading for 34 years of age. He probably still has a couple of years left in him at the very, very top level. And if we're being honest, Jan, he looks around at Barcelona and he doesn't probably see the quality that he probably should have surrounding him at this moment in time.
No, that's a very good point. And I think that the game, the 8-2, that shocked the whole football world, but it shocked Messi as well, because he can see around him. Sometimes it's sad when you see big teams kind of lose, first of all, their players, then results, then the kind of momentum of. Are you still there? Yeah.
And, yeah, we're all good.
Yeah, and that's what you feel now, that way that Barcelona kind of got magic into us. It was like they were magicians out there, and now there is no Xavi, there's no Iniesta, and there is no Suarez in top form, and Neymar, and so it's sad for Messi, and it just shows you that although we have seen signs of him this season that he's been still fantastic, but it can't be all up to one player. That is a hard part.
Another former Liverpool player that is currently contracted to Barcelona is, of course, Felipe Coutinho, who was part of that Bayern Munich Champions League winning squad. It's a very strange situation that he finds himself in as well.
It is a good lad, and came to Bayern Munich, and Germany kind of praised him as a superstar. But it had to be said that he wasn't a fixed starter at Barcelona. But I just read an interview with him now in a German paper, and he said, "I look forward to come back to Barcelona. That was my boyhood dream to play for Barcelona." So maybe he thinks that he can get another chance now with a new manager.
Perhaps. I know my viewers wouldn't respect me if I didn't bring up Jadon Sancho. Now, this is a story that at the start of the summer, it looked like it was Manchester United's transfer to lose if they were to, and now it seems to have gone very quiet. Now, you've got your finger on the pulse of European and German football. Jan, what are you hearing around Jadon Sancho?
Well, first of all, Dortmund want to keep him. They're desperate to keep him. They were very open about it, and this was pre-corona. They said he will cost 120 million euro, but it's all need to be done before the 10th of August when they went in training camp. And now in Germany, the Dortmund management, as they are seen as strong in English football and English media, they are seen as poker players, because of course Aubameyang and Dembele, they went on a similar cloud, but they were striking as well to go, and there is no signal yet from the player that he will do anything big to kind of have a trouble with the club. Quite opposite, he sounds perfectly okay. I spoke to people at Dortmund today, and they said because there was still now in the English media that Manchester United are confident that they will get him. But first of all, there is no bid for Manchester United, and Dortmund say, why should we let him go? We would embarrass us to the whole world. So I think as it stands, it's more likely that he will go next summer, and I think that is good news for every other club's fans, because this is a great player. I watched him 10 or 12 times live when we got Erling Haaland going to Dortmund, and he's always involved, always taking on people, a player you love to see, and there is either a dribbling or an assist or a goal when he got the ball. So I think English football will have so much fun with this player when he's coming of age as well.
One thing I found interesting when Mr. Zorc spoke to the media was that he let it be known that when they increased Jadon Sancho's wages last year, they also extended his contract by 1 year, because it was thought that his contract was up by a lot of people in 2022. So that again gives Dortmund a little bit more power back, and they did set that deadline of, I think, August the 10th that they said if they needed time to replace him. So it does certainly look like he's going to stay put this summer. And as you said, that excites many other fans around Europe.
There is not one sign. There's not an inch of sign that Dortmund want to let this player go. But as you say, it surprised us all when they came with that extra year. That was none of people who tried to know everything new about that. So that was advantage Mr. Sork and Dortmund. And the funny thing is that Manchester United haven't been in for with a bid yet. Maybe they will. We know the transfer deadline, which is another deadline, is the 5th of October. So there's a lot of rumbling going on before we'll know the squads for next season. But the German season starts 1 week after the English, and so can't see there is any chance without the player making himself very, very unpopular in Dortmund. But still, Dortmund couldn't lose face, couldn't lose it again. They're always also been criticized in Germany with Uli Hoeneß, who have been criticized in Dortmund, saying that the difference between Dortmund and Bayern Munich is that when we get a player, we want to make him a Bayern player. When Dortmund get a player, they want to make him good to sell him, and they want to break that.
There is, you mentioned your fellow countryman, young Haaland, whose name I've absolutely mispronounced, and I apologise for that. But he has gone to Dortmund. He settled in very well, and a lot of people were thinking he could move this summer. But I remember again through our last conversation, I think you told me that it was always his desire to go and play in the Bundesliga at some point early on in his career.
Yes, and he's been always good to take one step after another. He did that from Bryne to Molde in Norway to go to a club that was very good at developing players. Then he went to Salzburg, who are very good to develop players. Did that again now with Dortmund after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer put himself on a private jet, flying to Salzburg to try to talk him into coming to a club, a big club, Manchester United as well, a club run by a Norwegian and his former coach in Molde. But still, they held on to their plan to take step by step. And Dortmund is a fantastic big club, 81,000 crowd, but still I think that the intensity in English football is even tougher on and off the pitch. So I think that was a great move for him, and he's shown in the Bundesliga and in the Champions League that was the right move.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will give you a chance to put a couple of questions to Jan before we finish up, so get thinking. I'm going to ask you for them in a few moments. But Jan, one club who've been extremely active in the transfer market are, of course, Chelsea, who have agreed terms for Kai Havertz. What's your take on the business that Chelsea are doing, and Roman Abramovich is certainly putting his hand deep into his pockets?
Well, it's great days for Chelsea after 1 year where we can even take part in the speculations in and around the transfer windows. And I think that Frank Lampard, it was easier for him last season because then he had all the young players that he had to get into the team. And to be fair to me, did got him into a Champions League spot, developed so many great young players. I think the good news for Chelsea is that not only that they get the players, but Abramovich shows that he's willing to invest in the team. On the negative side, if that is a negative side, is I saw today they're slowly getting in some defenders as well now. Sarr came in today. Silva is coming. Then maybe they will probably maybe get a goalkeeper, and then they start to being a good threat for them. I think what Chelsea has done that Bayern Munich couldn't, Manchester United wouldn't, and Liverpool didn't afford at the time was that when two players like Kai Havertz and Timo Werner were available, someone got to get them, because it's not every summer that so many big talents are moving like this summer. It's Kai Havertz, is Timo Werner, is Leroy Sané. We forget him that he's moving as well. So it's unbelievable the business they've done so far. We can also watch them doing the business a bit differently than other clubs. Marina Granovskaya is a good negotiator, and she does everything behind closed door, and suddenly they got a player, so they're doing their business fine. Is it enough to take the space back to Liverpool and maybe in Manchester City? I don't think so, because I think Frank Lampard don't have the experience like Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp, and it's very underestimated that is a big difference between Lampard, Solskjaer, Klopp, and Pep Guardiola, and also the way that Liverpool and Manchester City play the football, I think that, well, Ole Gunnar, my friend Ole Gunnar, you can see at the end of the season, you can see how we wanted Manchester United to play, not only reacting to other teams, he also acting on by themselves. So yeah, Chelsea is exciting, and I think it's a good time to be Chelsea fan at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would agree that they're doing very good business. And I also agree with you that it will take time for those players to settle and for them to really try and get up to that level of Liverpool and Manchester City, who are, of course, setting the pace. One player who I forgot to ask you about, somebody who has played in Germany for the past couple of years and could, again, free up a little bit of space in Liverpool's midfield, is Marco Grujic. Obviously, he was on loan at Hertha Berlin. Did very well there, was highly regarded. He seems to be available. Have you heard anything on potential interest in Marco Grujic?
No, not more than he's, like you said, he did well at Hertha Berlin. There was an interesting project when they got Jürgen Klinsmann in, and that kind of failed. And then they got Bruno Labbadia in, who got them on a safe position. And Berlin, great city to live. It's a club that never takes out the whole potential. But I think that he will. That is a player who can. I mean, let's see what Liverpool want to do with him. If they've got injuries or whatever will happen. But that this is a player who can certainly end up in one of the. I don't think Dortmund will take him. I don't think Bayern Munich will take him. But any other club, he will fit well into them. So I think that is just he's got a good name, a great name in Germany. So I think that if he leaves or go on loan from Liverpool, he will go back to Germany.
I've got to just repeat this because there's some people that are coming in late into the chat, and before I go to some viewers' questions, I don't like to put you on the spot, but I just want to get your thoughts on, do you think the Thiago thing will happen? Do you think that Liverpool will come back to Bayern Munich with an actual bid?
I think so, because he wants to leave, and it's clear that he wants to play for Liverpool. He wants to play for Jurgen Klopp. So the rest is technicality. So let's see what's happening. I think that he will be a perfect fit for Liverpool, and he's a perfect old-fashioned Liverpool player, a guy that never gives the ball away, that will always want the ball, and that is from back in my old days when Jan Mulby played in midfield and never gave the ball away. And this guy is a bit fitter, but still, Jan Mulby was a fantastic player.
Oh, Jan was an absolute joy to watch, I have to say. Jan Mulby's one of the best passers of a football I think I've ever seen. Another important point on Thiago, I think people get hooked up on his age. He's 29 years of age. But what I keep reminding our viewers is that Xavi Alonso only went to Real Madrid at 29 years of age. And look what he still managed to achieve there. 29 these days is the old 25. He still has 4 or 5 years minimum left in him at the top level, Thiago. So I'm very excited about the prospect of it. I know all of our viewers are very excited about the prospect of it, and they'll be even happier having heard your take on it, Jan. So I'm going to move on to a couple of viewers' questions to finish up. And one of our viewers in India said, Jan, do you see Sancho ending up at Liverpool next year, or is Sancho completely sold on the Manchester United project, as news that personal terms were agreed was broken?
I think that at the time when Sancho, so to say, were available before the 10th of August, at that time, when Dortmund put their price up at 120 million euro, they hoped for a bid. They hoped for a lot of clubs with a great financial can go in for him. And at the time, there was only Manchester United who were desperate in need of that kind of global star, exciting player. But I remember when I was back, and sometimes, and I did that because I was sitting in I was doing the Dortmund game, and I was speaking to an old journalist, and I've told this story before, but I can tell it again. And he said to me, you know, Jan, I'll tell you this. I spoke to Dortmund yesterday, and it's 100% sure this player will go to Liverpool. And I said, okay. Yeah. You know, Jurgen Klopp is a good friend of Watzke, who is a CEO of Dortmund. This is just done. He will go to Liverpool next year. Okay. And then a younger guy who's also following Dortmund and got great connections at Dortmund. And I said to him, I want to tweet this, but you have to confirm it for me. And he was on the table with this old guy. And he said, so I will ask you, where will Sancho go? Oh, I spoke to Dortmund, the insider, yesterday. He will go to Manchester United. And I think that is the complications of a transfer window that makes fans hopeful, that will do fans crazy. But I do want, and you can see it from Dortmund's side as well, not only from Liverpool, that maybe to have Sancho to stay another season, that could, let's say, okay, we make this deal, you stay for another season, we let you go next summer, but still they got to pay that amount of money. And hopefully with COVID, hopefully their fans are back in the stadium, hopefully we can travel again, and then there will be a better market for him.
Liz, one of our viewers from the United States, wants to know who you think will end up managing Liverpool when Jurgen Klopp leaves in 2024. I know we're looking a long way ahead, but I suppose maybe Liz is thinking of somebody like Julian Nagelsmann, whose career is progressing very fast. And from my personal opinion, I like Pep Linders at the club. He's a very highly regarded coach as well. I think he can't be overlooked. But of course, the viewers want to know your opinion, Jan.
Well, if you looked at, I'll ask you a quiz. I will ask you a quiz back. Who came after Klopp in Mainz?
Oh God, I don't remember. I haven't got a clue.
Thomas Tuchel. Who came after Klopp in Dortmund?
Tuchel.
Exactly. I'm not saying that Thomas Tuchel will come, because, but it's funny that all the clubs. First of all the clubs that Klopp has been at, his replacement has always been Thomas Tuchel, and they're all singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" before the game. So that they got in common. But I think that what you said, there is. I am still there.
Yeah, I can hear you audio anyway. Just no video at the minute.
Okay, well, the video will come soon. But I'm still. You're in the show. Okay, but I'll just keep on talking. And yeah, so Tuchel could be one of those people. But as you see sometimes when you have the, I can see there's nothing wrong here, so I can't see that. Okay, but it's normally you see managers like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, timings wise, then it was suddenly good timing for him to go there. Julian Nagelsmann in 4 years, then he's probably over 30. And he could still be that Mozart of football, and he could end up at Liverpool.
Final one before I let you go, Jan. Harry Murphy wants to know what you think of Raheem Brewster, and could he go on to be Liverpool's main striker?
He could go on, and I think that is the great thing. Sometimes we put the young kids in too early. Sometimes it's successful, like with Manchester United with Greenwood now is more or less taking his place. Sometimes it's also better to have this main striker, and boy, you have some good strikers at Liverpool that you can kind of come into that in their shadow, or is it better to go on loan? I think that is completely up to how the head of the boy, how he's developing, and that a club will make a 5-year plan. And sometimes, because you see this boy, he's got it, but it's depending on when he will kind of come out as the great flower.
Jan, it has been an absolute pleasure, sir, to have you with us. I really appreciate you giving up your time to let us know the latest on all things transfer related.
Sorry for the video at the end, but I'll come stronger back.
Hey, it's no problem, my friend. I appreciate it. Jan, I wish you all the best. I hope that you stay well and stay safe, my friend. And again, thank you for giving up your time.
Likewise, mate. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye. Folks, I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes in case you have anything that you wanted to ask me, because we haven't got a late night agenda coming up tonight. So please do keep your questions coming. And I do apologize, as I said, for the end of that video. With sometimes you get these little technical hiccups, and that's the beauty of doing stuff live, I suppose. I do appreciate you staying with us, by the way. As you heard Jan talking there, we spoke about Thiago, who he thinks most likely would become a Liverpool player. We touched on the Messi situation, but I'm going to remain on for a couple of minutes if you guys have anything that you want to ask me or anything that you want to bring up. Obviously, the Reds got a 2-2 draw today at Salzburg, and Raheem Brewster really did show his class when he came on. That second goal, I thought in particular, was a sensational finish. And look, you can take negative from these things. I know a lot of Liverpool fans weren't happy with the start we made, and they weren't happy with the way we performed, but I never put too much stress on pre-season friendlies. It's just about getting minutes in their legs. But sometimes you do get that little bit of joy, and we got that with Raheem Brewster, somebody who I think is starting to excite a lot of Liverpool fans around the world now, myself included. I've been banging on about this kid for a long time, and Scotty asked me what my opinion was about Brewster today. What can you say, Scotty, mate, other than magnificent? What a finish for for the second goal. And again, even the first goal, it looked like the ball was just about to get away from him, but he still managed to scoop it up and get it past the keeper into the top of the net. I know a lot of you guys are going to ask about Daka as well, who of course put in a very good performance for Salzburg. I was particularly impressed with his second goal, the way he got across the front of Virgil van Dijk, which doesn't happen very often. You have to say Van Dijk, one of the best defensive readers in the game, but the two goals did come from two mistakes, one from Fabinho giving the ball away, and the second, I think it was Joe Gomez, whose pass was intercepted, and Salzburg then had a good break down the left-hand side and finished with that wonderful run across the front of Van Dijk from Daka, and the finish past Alisson, which left them no chance whatsoever. And again, straight away, you can see Liverpool fans asking, have we any interest in this guy? And somebody did super chat me last week, and I touched on it in the comment section earlier on, asking me what I thought about him. And I was honest, and I said, I didn't know much about the guy. Haven't seen him today and watched a few clips. He does look like a very good talent. Not somebody I'm personally linking with Liverpool, but we do have a very good relationship with Salzburg, so never say never in these scenarios. Right, what have we got? Keep more of your comments coming. What about Messi to Liverpool, said Sipsco, mate? It's just not going to happen. We just will not and cannot afford to pay Lionel Messi's wages. Trazar, let me pull up your comment. We're using StreamYard today for the stream, by the way, which is why I'm able to bring up these comments on stream. Craig, do you think Gerrard will be a good replacement for Klopp because of his relationship with the club? Steven Gerrard, for me, mate, he still has to prove it. I don't think he's done enough in his managerial career to justify coming in after Jurgen Klopp yet. But, it's a very long time until Jurgen Klopp leaves, 2024. Stevie G, if he stops Celtic from doing the 10 in a row, which, look, I've no preference on, by the way. I know a lot of people are going to expect me to be a Celtic fan because I'm Irish. I don't really follow Scottish football, but I have been keeping an eye on how Stevie G is getting along, and it would be great. I mean, it'll be a fairy tale kind of circle for Stevie G to come back, having done what he did as a player and end up as manager. But I want whoever comes in after Klopp to be ready to keep this club pushing forward. So whether that is Tuchel, whether that is Nagelsmann, whether that is Pochettino, Steven Gerrard, Pep Linders, whoever it might be, I'm absolutely assured that the club will do the right thing and will get the right man in. But let's be honest, none of us want to talk about when Klopp will leave just yet. Thiago has come in and said, Christian, it's looking likely, more and more likely as the days go by. Breaking news, Messi to Real Madrid. That simply is not going to happen, mate. There's not a chance in hell that that's going to happen. What's your take on the Maguire situation? I don't usually like to talk about other clubs' players as such, but it is an intriguing situation what's going on with Harry Maguire. So he was found guilty today, as you guys know. He was found guilty on, I think, 3 counts. He's going to appeal those by the looks of it. It was a suspended sentence and a fine. It's not really my place to say what should happen with regards to the captaincy of Manchester United and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure Mark Goldbridge over in the United stand will be going through this in a lot more detail, but it's not a good look for Harry Maguire. It's not a good look for Manchester United, and it's not a good look for English football. He's been pulled from the latest England squad as well ahead of their next game. So it remains to be seen what will happen. What I will say is, though, I always wonder in these scenarios, look, you never like to see a footballer getting into trouble. Of course you don't. But I always wonder if this was, let's say, Roberto Firmino or I just wonder what the media reaction would have been if it wasn't an English darling, shall we say, a little bit with regards to it. I wonder would it be as warm and friendly as it seems to have been, because there hasn't been as much. I know when you're talking about legal matters, you do have to be very careful, and when it's reported, of course, Sky or whoever it might be have to be very careful and balanced in what they say. I just think, the story is getting away a little bit lightly in the media for me. But interestingly, you probably noticed Jamie Carragher come out almost in defence of Harry Maguire, and it is a tricky situation because how would any of us react if our sister was I don't want to say assaulted. There was talk that she was pricked with some sharp device. Potentially, there was talk that maybe she was. They were trying to give her some type of a drug or something like that. We'd all like to protect our sister, and we do anything to protect our sister. So for me, whatever happens in the Maguire situation, I will never hold, like when Eric Dyer went in to defend his family in the crowd as well. I'll never hold that against the player. I think any of us in the same position would want to defend their sister. But the part that becomes really interesting is the attempted bribery of the police. That's the part that I think most of us are looking at this and thinking, well, they're very adamant in saying that he knew. He said he didn't know that they were police officers. The statements coming out of Greece seems to suggest he should know very well that the police officers, he was told, they were shown ID, they were brought in a police vehicle, and they were offered money. So I don't know is the honest answer. We'll have to wait and see how this one goes on with, but it certainly isn't a great look, put it that way. Anybody know if Trent is fit for Saturday is a question. I genuinely don't know if he is, and the same with Jordan Henderson. I would hope so, because obviously we do have the Community Shield coming up at the weekend, a game which we will, of course, be covering on the channel. But look, folks, I'm going to bring the stream to an end. I will be back tomorrow with another late night agenda. We'll be back normal, green screen, usual setup. Just for these interviews, we like to have a split screen and we like to go old school on it. So look, hit that subscribe button if you've enjoyed the stream. Give us a thumbs up as well. If you're watching this back later on, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments section. And thank you very much. I'll be back tomorrow with a late night agenda. Up the Reds. And again, thank you to Jan for giving up his time. Really appreciate chatting with him. It's always fun. Up the Reds.